A century ago, when your German ancestors brought their old-world survival skills to the American frontier, a man could walk into the woods with a pocket knife, some wire, and an axe, and keep his family alive all winter. No permits, no fees, no permission. Today, that same morning routine would land him about 14 federal offenses before breakfast. We've traded rugged frontier survival for a world where you need a bureaucrat's stamp just to catch a raindrop. Today, we're exposing 10 old-world survival tricks that kept your grandparents alive through depressions and world wars. Some were banned to protect nature. Others? Well, someone in an air-conditioned office simply decided your grandfather was entirely too free. Subscribe, because this list will make you question exactly how independent you really are. Let's start with a crime against the clouds. Number 10. Collecting rainwater, the sky tax. Your German great-grandfather didn't ask the sky for a receipt. Every farmhouse from the old country to the American Midwest had rain barrels sitting under the gutters. A used whiskey barrel cost 50 cents, and a piece of charcoal dropped inside kept the water sweet for months. During severe droughts, that barrel was the only thing standing between a living garden and dead dirt. But starting in the late 20th century, states realized they couldn't meter the sky, so they regulated it instead. Colorado, Utah, and Oregon passed laws claiming that the rain falling on your own roof actually belonged to downstream water rights holders. In 2012, a man in Oregon was literally sentenced to 30 days in jail for collecting rainwater on his own property. The idea that Mother Nature's tears belong to the state would have made your grandfather laugh until he cried. Number 9. Building debris huts. If your grandfather got caught in a sudden blizzard in the backcountry, he didn't pull out a $400 synthetic Gore-Tex tent. He built a debris hut. He cut pine boughs, leaned them against a fallen log, and packed the gaps with 2 feet of dead leaves. It was standard survival knowledge. Today, try building a debris hut in a national forest. Constructing any structure on federal land without authorization is a violation. Rangers have actually fined hikers for building survival shelters, citing them as unauthorized improvements. A beaver can fell a tree and build a dam without a permit, but if you stack a pile of sticks to keep from freezing to death, you're an environmental criminal. Number 8. Diverting a stream for water. When your grandfather needed clean drinking water, he didn't buy a plastic filter. He read the terrain. He'd find a moving stream, dig a shallow hole 2 feet from the bank, and let the groundwater seep in, naturally filtered by the sand. If he needed a deeper pool to water his horses, he stacked a few rocks to create a temporary weir. It was practical engineering. Today, moving those rocks violates the Clean Water Act. Diverting stream flow, even temporarily, is a federal offense in many western states where water is allocated to the absolute drop. The rock dam your grandfather built in 10 minutes could now trigger an armed raid by the EPA. The law protects watersheds, which is fair. But the man dying of thirst 2 miles from his truck doesn't really care about downstream allocation tables. Number 7. The Figure 4 Deadfall Trap. The Figure 4 deadfall is one of the oldest traps in history. 3 sticks, notched perfectly, balancing a heavy flat rock. It required no wire, no springs, and no ammunition. Just a knife, green wood, and gravity. Your grandfather could carve one in 5 minutes. It fed families for centuries. Today, deadfall traps are strictly illegal in virtually every state. Wildlife agencies classify them as non-selective devices. Setting one on public land is considered severe poaching. The skill that kept human beings alive since the Stone Age is now a wildlife violation because, apparently, gravity is an unlicensed weapon. Now, you might be thinking, fine, the government controls the deep woods, but my property is my castle, right? Wrong. The next few skills on this list didn't happen in the wild. They happened right in your grandfather's backyard. And today, practicing them will get your house condemned, your property seized, and a SWAT team in your driveway. Number 6. Raw milk and the neighborhood dairy. A century ago, if the neighbor's cow was producing, you walked over with a glass jug and bought a gallon of raw, unpasteurized milk. It was the absolute backbone of local food security. Today, selling raw milk across state lines is a federal crime. Let that sink in. You can walk into a gas station and legally buy a neon blue energy drink with 14 artificial chemicals that glows in the dark. But if a local farmer sells you unprocessed milk straight from a cow, the FDA treats him like a cartel boss. We have literally seen armed federal raids on small Amish farms over the interstate sale of raw milk. The system doesn't want you trading with your neighbor, it wants you scanning a barcode at a megamart. Number 5. Brain tanning hides. This one is messy, but it kept the frontier from freezing. Pioneers knew a bizarre biological secret. Every animal has exactly enough brain matter to tan its own hide. Smearing the boiled brains onto the skin breaks down the fibers, creating incredibly soft, waterproof buckskin. If you try this survival skill in your suburban backyard today, you won't just get a visit from the police, you'll get the EPA and a hazmat team. Handling raw biological matter and smoking hides over an open fire for 3 days violates about 50 municipal health, safety, and odor ordinances. And honestly, if you've ever smelled a rotting deer brain, the Homeowners Association might actually have a point on this one. Number 4. Backyard butchering and the smokehouse. When your German ancestors took a deer or a hog in November, they didn't put it in a chest freezer. They smoked it. Using techniques perfected in the Black Forest, they used a small wooden shack, green hickory coals, and salt. That meat would stay good for a year without electricity. Today, the smokehouse is a legal minefield. Selling or trading home-smoked meat without USDA inspection and a commercial stainless steel kitchen is a massive offense. Even sharing large quantities of wild game with your neighbors crosses legal lines in many jurisdictions. You aren't allowed to feed your own community unless the government has inspected the pig and taken their cut. Number 3. Mixing homemade black powder. When the supply lines dried up, a resourceful homesteader didn't panic. They knew the chemistry. By scraping saltpeter from the walls of damp cellars or manure piles and mixing it perfectly with sulfur and crushed charcoal, they made their own black powder. It was basic survival chemistry to keep their rifles loaded and their families fed. Today, do not try this at home. While muzzle loading itself is a hobby, manufacturing explosive powders in your garage without federal licenses is a great way to meet the ATF. Buying large quantities of saltpeter and sulfur will put you on a federal watch list faster than you can say Patriot Act. Plus, local fire marshals treat the unpermitted storage of explosive chemicals as a massive zoning violation. The ability to defend and feed yourself from scratch is now heavily guarded behind federal red tape. Congratulations, you're on a watch list. Number 2. The Dakota Fire Hole. It was the ultimate stealth cooking method. Dig 2 holes connected by a tunnel. One for the fire, one for the airflow. It burned incredibly hot, used almost no wood, and produced 0 visible smoke. Today, digging any hole on public land is resource destruction. Your grandfather's smokeless fire is now a ticketable offense. And number 1, carrying fire across the landscape. Fire is survival. Granddad carried a smoldering punk of slow-burning wood wrapped in green leaves to ensure he could start a fire anywhere, instantly. Today, open fires are prohibited across millions of acres. fire bans are strictly enforced. Lighting a survival fire without a permit can result in criminal arson charges and millions in suppression liability if it spreads. The tool that made human civilization possible is now the most regulated act you can perform in the American wilderness. Your grandparents didn't break laws. They lived in a world where self-reliance was expected, not regulated. They built their shelter, preserved their food, and lit their fire, because that is exactly what a capable human being did. Some regulations protect the land, but others just ensure you remain a paying customer to a grid that controls your water, your food, and your shelter. The knowledge still matters. Learn the chemistry, understand how a smokehouse works, study the old ways, because laws change, but survival doesn't. Which of these banned skills surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. Stay sharp, stay sovereign, and I'll see you in the next one.